Hello everyone, welcome to episode 24 of the Tatted Tatter Crochet and Tatting Podcast. My name is Stephanie and I'm coming to you from my home in Southern California, and I'm back. So if you've been watching this for any length of time, you will know that I was recently pregnant and I had a baby. So I'll talk a little bit about my whole experience and how everything is going at the end. But thank you all so much for your lovely comments and support. Welcome to anyone who is new, and welcome back to returning viewers and subscribers. Yeah, thank you so much for your support. It's been a real joy to read your comments on YouTube videos and on Instagram. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to get back at it. My son Alexander will be 5 weeks tomorrow, and so we've kind of gotten into a good rhythm. He's asleep right now. We'll see if he stays that way. And don't worry, I'll make sure you get to see him in the episode. I'm sure he'll wake up at some point. If you hear him grunting in the background, that's just what he does when he's asleep. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to get back at it. It's nice to get back into a routine and feel like a human again. So here we are. And I did get back to crocheting and knitting and all that about 2 weeks ago. So I have some things to show you. Not too much, but enough. So I do have one finished object, and I actually finished this before Alexander was born, and you have seen it in progress. This is a shawl, and I'm gonna forget every single thing about it because it's been like a month and a half since I worked on it. But I do know that the yarn is from Apple Tree Knits. It was a yarn from the Yarn Over Truck Yarn Club, and this one was from the kind of the regular Yarn Club. They did one that was all Avengers themed, and this was their regular yearly one, and this was the Sex and the City inspired colorway, and it's a silk linen blend, so it's really perfect for summer. The name of the shawl starts with a C. I'll link to my Ravelry project page in the description, and all of the information is on there if you want to find it. I really liked the pattern. It was nice and simple, but also really lacy and pretty. See if you can, I'm sure it's blurry, but you can get a general idea. And I really, really loved the color changes. So it goes from very white to kind of yellow, off-white, to the pink, and then there's a little bit of the purple there on the end, because I didn't use the whole ball. I didn't want to run out of yarn, so I started the end at a certain point, and that's how far I got into the purple that was in it. So yeah, it's all done, and I just, to block it, I just wet it with some soak wool wash, and just laid it out on the bed and let it dry. I kind of stretched it out a little bit. I didn't pin it or anything. But yeah, I think it looks great. I haven't really worn it yet because even though this is a nice cool weather thing, it's hot. And I mean, I don't have a lot of occasion to leave the house these days, much less somewhere where I would be willing to wear this, especially with the risk of it getting spit up on. So I'll get back to wearing my handmaids eventually, but not yet. He's being very grunty, but I think he's still asleep. Let me make sure his, oh, there we go. Ooh, sorry. He's in his little bouncy chair that vibrates, and the vibrate only lasts like 20 minutes, so then you have to turn it back on. We're going through a lot of C batteries, but that's fine. Whatever helps him sleep. So yeah, so that's my only finished object that I have with me. I'll put in a picture because I already gave it away, but I made a simple granny blanket for my friend Lydia. Her son Hugh just turned 3, and so we went to his birthday party / 4th of July bash, and I really wanted to make him something. I made him a blanket for his 2nd birthday. Well, actually, I had made a shrug, and it may have actually been his 1st birthday, because it was when I first started crocheting, and I did not like the way that the shrug turned out, but it was just a big giant rectangle that you then sewed the sides together to make sleeves, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way that it laid on me, any of those things, so I just took the seam out and turned it into a blanket and then gave it to them for his birthday. And so I wanted to make him something else, and I had made this blanket, which if you've been watching you will have seen. This is my geriatric unicorn throw. And it's the pattern is from Rosina of Zines and Roger podcast, and it's the way that she does the granny, it's turned so it doesn't spiral, because crochet stitches naturally lean, and so the way that her technique makes it so that you don't do that, because you turn for each round. And so I used that technique with a ball of the Lion Brand mandala in the mermaid colorway, and I just did it until I ran out of yarn, and I actually won at Yarn Chicken, which is pretty impressive. And then I used some paint box Simply DK, because mandala is DK, that I had to do a white border, so I just did a double crochet all the way around, and then a crab stitch, a reverse single crochet around the edging, and that was it. And I had to finish the edging at the party because I ran out of time, but he's 3, so he did not care at all, and they really liked the blanket, so that was a lot of fun to make. And that was the first thing that I really worked on after giving birth, and it just felt great. And I needed something that was really simple, so a granny is like the best way to get into that, because you don't have to work into stitches, you're just working into chains, and everything is the same, and it's an easy repeat and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was great. I'm really glad I did that, because then it inspired me to do other things. So for works in progress, I have 2 things that I'm actively working on. One is knitting and one is crochet, so I'll show you the knitting, because I know you've seen this before. My Crochet Luna bag with my Crochet Luna pins. So I'm working on burk cloths. So I finished one. I don't remember if I've shown you this or not, but I made one, and you'll see it's mostly garter, and then it has the stockinette kind of ribbing looking in there. So I made one, and I've actually already been using this. It probably currently smells like cheese, because everything I own now smells like cheese. And so then I'm working on a second one, and this one is striped, so it's gray and blue. And actually it's showing up a lot better on camera than it looks in person. The striping is more obvious, the color contrast. So the yarn that I'm using is a cotton yarn. It's Cotton Supreme DK Sea Spray from Universal Yarn Inc. Lots of reflecting. And the gray, the name of it is covered up. Let me see if I have the other ones in here. Sorry, I gotta peel the thing off to see what color it is. The blue is Ink Blue, and I used that one to make the crochet sweater that I made for Alexander. If you saw that, it's the same yarn. And then the gray is, it's probably just called gray, and I'm doing this for no reason. Yeah. Storm, I think, is what this says. Yeah, I think it's Storm. That's the best I can tell. And the pattern, So I have a whole other skein of the gray. I'm not going to keep making burp claws because I'm kind of getting tired of it. I may crochet burp claws instead because knitting just takes so much longer for me because I'm still new at it. But the pattern is from Mason Dixon Knitting. It's the Baby Genius burp cloth, and it was this pattern, and then it also came with a bib pattern. We don't need bibs right now, so I'm not making any bibs because it was like $5 for those two patterns. But it's a really cute pattern, and I like it a lot. And it is relatively easy. It's just a 2-row repeat once you get the setup row done. So, and you can see this is the same skein, so it kind of it's its own gradient kind of. It's a tonal for the blue, and then then this is the striping, and it's completely garter on the other side. So yeah, and then I'm using a size 6, so it's a 4mm. Just the Takumi clovers that you can get at Michael's because they work relatively well with the cotton, and they're the right size. So yeah, so I've been working on that off and on. I started getting a little bored of working on those, so then when I did have time, like he was asleep and I was just at home, my shirt keeps falling down, I didn't want to work on it. So yesterday, Saturday, the Yarn Over truck was at a quilting store here where I live, and the Yarn Over truck is a food truck but with yarn, and so I was like, I'm gonna go. And I've been seeing on Facebook, because I'm a part of the Facebook group for the crochet project, they're doing a mystery crochet along. They did one last summer too, and I made that shawl and I really liked it. So they're doing another one this summer called the Stash of Shells mystery crochet along, and I had really liked what people were working up. They're already on like week 4 of 5, and so I decided I would go ahead and do it. And so when I went to the Yarn Over truck, I looked for yarn to do it because I wanted to do similar colors to what I did to their project last year, and I had a lot of the contrast colors still, a lot of yarn left from those, but I didn't have the gray because it was like a gray base and then stripes of the contrast colors. But of course, instead of just getting a gray, I ended up getting all of the colors. I wanted them to be in the same yarn, and they had these 50-gram skeins, which was perfect because the way that this the yarn for this crochet along is working is built to help you use up minis. So the yarn that I ended up getting was Anzula fibers. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I found them. Yeah, so it's Anzula Fibers, which is out of Fresno, and it's their squishy 50-gram fingering sock base, which is an MCN, so it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, and it's so soft. Oh my god! So I'll show it to you in a minute. It's 169 yards to 50 grams, and I don't remember which color is which because I skeined them up at the Yarn Over truck because I was getting ready to go take Alexander to go to one of my husband's performances. He runs a band, and I didn't have a project with me, and I was hoping that Alexander would sleep most of the time, and I wanted something to work on, so I went ahead and skeined them up on the truck. And actually it was really sweet. So Meredy is the woman who runs the Yarn Over truck, and Alexander started freaking out while we were in the truck, and so but the ball winder and everything was outside in the sun, so she wound some of them for me while I took care of the baby, and then we kind of switched. It was really sweet, but I really appreciated it. Yeah, the Yarn Over truck is fantastic. You should definitely buy stuff from them, and they have an online shop if you don't live in Southern California. So anyway, yeah, so the colors are Fiona, Saffron, which I'm pretty sure I know which one that was because I know what color Saffron is, Minty Unicorn, Roxy, and Maiden. So a bag. This is from DNA Designs by Angie. She has an Etsy shop. And so I started with this color. I don't know which one this is. I'm gonna have to look it up online and see if I can figure out which one is which. Anyway, it's like a really, really dark purple. And so I finished Clue 1 yesterday. Let me see if I can get a good color. Man, the lighting in my apartment is awful. Okay. I miss my natural light in my house. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. I look a little cross-eyed, but you can see. And it's a shell pattern. Stash of Shells is the name of the shawl. And then it's gonna start increasing on one side and decreasing on the other, because the shape ends up being a parallelogram. And so it looks really cool. And I love the texture, and this yarn is so freaking soft. Oh, I love cashmere. So that's been really good. It's a little curly. I should have gone to a bigger hook size, because I'm using a 4mm, which is what the pattern calls for. And because this is squishier, it's a kind of a thicker fingering weight. That may have helped, but it lays just fine, so I know it'll block out just fine. It's still nice and stretchy. It's not tight. It's just a little curly, as you can see. So let me show you the other colors. I'm pretty sure this one is the Minty Unicorn, because it's kind of it's a mint green. And I'm pretty sure this is Saffron, because this is the color of saffron. But this one could also be saffron. I don't know. But this one is, I really like this color, and I love all of these together. And then there's this one. So I wanted to pick colors like the blue and the dark purple are kind of beachy to me, like beachy sunset. And then these can be colors of like, these three can be the colors of the shells kind of idea. So yeah, I really liked how they all worked together. They're the same yarn, so I won't have like any weird consistency issues or with thickness issues, that kind of thing. And it's so soft. It's so soft and squishy. It was a little pricey, because the 50-gram skeins were $20 a piece, but I really wanted it, so I went and got it for myself. And of course I hadn't been buying things because, you know, no time to do that. Another thing that I got on the truck, I needed a hook, obviously, because I didn't bring anything with me. And the hooks that they sell on the truck are tulips. So it's like I said, it's a 4mm. These are from Japan. And Merity was telling me that they're really hard to get in the US, but she found a supplier, because these are the hooks that she likes to use. And the grip is really nice. It has, yeah, you can see it. It has a bump right here, like where your thumb can rest, so you have a really good grip. So I'm really liking it. And if I keep liking it, I may get some more from her the next time I get on the truck. So yeah, so that's the Stash of Shells mystery crochet along. I'm gonna try to work on Clue 2 today, if Mr. Man will behave. I got a lot of that done yesterday because my husband was home, so he was helping me take care of the baby. And because yesterday was an interesting day. He was awake mostly, other than like a couple of power naps, from like 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. just because he felt like it, because he's a baby, he does what he wants. So that's all of my projects. I did buy some things before I gave birth, so I'll show you those as a stashay away. The first thing is this skein. Oh, let me take it out of the package so there's not giant reflecting light off of it. This Lemonade Shop. This is their classic DK base. It's 231 yards to 100 grams, 100% superwash. And the colorway is Proceeds for Change. So Lemonade Shop is based out of Denver. And there was a school shooting in Denver a couple months ago. and the daughter of the woman who runs Lemonade Shop goes to that school. So obviously that was really difficult for them, and she wanted to do something to help, and so she dyed a special colorway to help raise money. So all of the money from all the proceeds, or a certain amount of the proceeds, whatever it was going to an organization that works to prevent gun violence. So I wanted to support them, and so this is the colorway. I think I can make something nice for Alexander out of this, and help some people in the process. That's one of the best things about the fiber community, is that we can help support each other in those ways. So I got this one. I love the blue speckles with the yellow too. I think it's the school colors from the school. So then I also ordered something from Molly Klein Design. So, oh, hi baby cakes. Are you awake now? We'll see what he does. If he just hangs out and behaves himself, then we don't have to worry about it. Or he might come and hang out with us. Yeah, so it was like my due date, or the day before my due date or something, and I was really mad that I was still pregnant. As if you've ever been 40 weeks pregnant before. It's not fun. I was looking on Instagram, and Molly also just had a baby. Her baby was born like a week or two after Alexander. Vincent, I believe his name is. And her parents also, they live in the Midwest somewhere, I forget. And her parents' house was really devastated by a big storm, and so she was raising money as well for her family. And so I was like, well, I feel terrible and want to make myself feel better, and Molly does great, amazing things, and her family needs some help, so I'm gonna buy myself some sympathy yarn. So I ordered this from her. Okay, sorry for the crinkling. So I got a mini skein set, which of course I could have used for Stash of Shells, but I didn't want it to be this pastel. But this is Pretty Pastel mini skein set. They're 10 grams and 45 yards each. It's her fingering, I think it's one of her sock bases. And you can see the various colors. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 60 grams. See? They're so pretty, nice and pastel. And then I also got a bag. So this is one of her like scrap bags where she takes a bunch of fabrics and puts them all together into a bag. And I really like her bags because they're really sturdy. They're lined, and I think she maybe uses interfacing, or the fabric is, because it's a canvas on the bottom, so the material's just that sturdy. And so I thought this was really cute, so I ordered this bag. And this is the first time I've even opened it, because it showed up after Alexander was born, because I'll give you my whole birth story, but he was 40 weeks in one day. So it showed up after I think it actually showed up the day we got home from the hospital. So I hadn't even opened it yet. And of course, Molly always sends like little hard candies and stuff, and tea. So peach and passion fruit. And now I can drink whatever tea I want, because I don't have to worry about weird herbal things messing with the baby or making me go into labor. And then she has a new card, so this is her card. Molly Klein Design. And she is insane, and in a good way, because like I said, she also just had a baby, and then she was posting new stuff in her shop like the next day after she got home from the hospital. So more power to you, Molly. You want to come say hello? Now's the perfect time. I'm done showing people things. You want to say hello? Go get the baby. Here he is. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, baby cakes. So this is Alexander. Can you actually face the people? Let's see your pretty big blue eyes. He still can't hold up his own head, obviously, because like I said, he'll be 5 weeks old tomorrow. Get those bits. So cute. We're just at the stage where he should start smiling soon, so I'm excited about that. And my husband and I are both relatively convinced that he smiled at us at least once. So, recently. Yeah, it's my sweet love. So yeah, I had a baby. And it was pretty crazy, so now I'll just go ahead and tell you my birth story. So if you don't care, all the yarny bits are done. We're going to move into life stuff. And my entire life completely revolves around this tiny human now. Because of course he needs 24/7 attention. And my husband went back to work after 2 weeks, so it's just been he and I. And people who come to hang out. My mom's been coming to help a lot. My in-laws were here for a week. Yeah, oh no, you're fine. You're okay. You want to talk to the people with me? Yeah, you want to say hello? But yeah, so it's basically all baby all the time. Which has been good. Oh no, most of the time. He gets a little fussy, and the first 2 weeks I thought he was trying to kill me. But anyway, so yeah, I went to 40 weeks in one day, and that morning I had an appointment because once you get past 40 weeks, my doctor has you go in and they test your fluid levels and they make sure that the baby is moving and all those kinds of things. So my alarm went off at 11 a.m. and I got up to go use the restroom and my water broke. And so we called labor and delivery and they were like, okay, come in within like 2 hours, you know, eat, take a shower, good things. So that's what I did. I had breakfast, I took a shower, I did all that. And like an hour in, I started having contractions. And I couldn't really tell what they were at first. It was just like, it just felt like a really, really bad cramp or gas or something. But I was like, let's go ahead and go to the hospital. And so by like 12:30, we were at the hospital and I was having intense contractions. Like I barfed in the hallway on the way to labor and delivery. And by the time we got there, I was in so much pain. And so we got into they finally checked us in. We got into the initial triage room kind of thing where you put on the gown and they want to put on the monitors and all that kind of fun stuff. And by the time they were putting the monitors on me, I was screaming. I was in so much pain. And I don't even know how close my contractions were. I don't know how long they were. Like it was that intense. And so then somebody came in and checked me and I was 9.5 centimeters. So I had been dilating before that. I was probably 3.5 to 4 centimeters when I went into labor. And so within an hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes, I went from 4 centimeters to 9.5 centimeters. You are a wiggle worm right now. It's my little fidgety baby. So they wanted to keep doing the monitoring, but I was kind of doing a lot of thrashing. And then really quickly I started feeling like I needed to push. And so they were like, don't push, you're only 9.5 centimeters and we don't have you in the delivery room yet. So they got me to the delivery room. And I was able to resist pushing with the breathing techniques they gave me, because otherwise I was like, I don't know how you expect me to not push. Like, that is the only thing I want to do right now. And then once I got to 10 centimeters, which was very quickly, I started pushing, and 30 minutes later, there he was. So I had a 3-hour labor. Oh no, you're okay. You don't like this position right now for some reason. Yeah, so, yeah, 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I had a baby. And he was happy and healthy, and everything was good. He was 7 pounds, 3 ounces, 19 3/4 centimeters. My body handled it really well. I did have a small tear, but the midwife and the nurses and everybody took really good care of us. We got really great care. And, you know, my husband cut the umbilical cord, and we held him and hung out with him for a while, and then they checked him and made sure everything was good, and my husband held him for a while, and yeah, we got to our room and it was good. Because of my gestational diabetes, they checked his blood sugar a lot, but he was fine. And I just had my check and everything looks good. So yeah, we're really lucky and everything went really well. And I've healed really well. I'm already completely back to where I was before. And actually, because of the gestational diabetes, I've lost like 15 to 20 pounds from my pre-pregnancy weight. I only netted 1 pound during my pregnancy. Unfortunately, I had to have gestational diabetes and not eat real food for a while in order to do that, but it's a positive result from something that was not fun. And luckily he wasn't very big, because that's the one of the fears with gestational diabetes, is that the baby will be too big and get stuck. But he did not. He came out just fine. I mean, with a lot of frickin' effort on my part. But yeah, he's just fine. Oh, baby burps. I know. Is that what you're working on? Is that why you're a little fussy? You're a little gassy? Yeah, you'll be fine. But yeah, the first week for sure, we were so sleep deprived that we were starting to go a little insane. Like, I was having severe anxiety issues. But we got him on a decent schedule, and he started sleeping better during the night, which made all the difference in the world. And then I started adjusting to sleeping with him for a little bit during the day when he would take his naps. And so it got a lot better after like the second week. It's still a little insane. I still don't sleep very much, but enough. And he's already going through a lot of changes. He went through a growth spurt this last week, so he's already changed his own schedule. But again, he's still sleeping decently at night, which is, for whatever reason, he can scream all day and it's not that big a deal. But if he cries for like 5 minutes at night, then I just feel like I'm going insane. Where human beings are definitely daytime people, or daytime creatures for the most part. I know some people aren't, but I am. What is your general dysfunction? What? You want to face this way? You want to look out? See what you can see? You want to see what you can see? Yeah, so we've been hanging out. We've been getting out of the house a lot because I was getting a little stir crazy. I'm incredibly extroverted, and so I needed to do stuff. But there's like a mommy baby group at the hospital, and I've got friends who recently had babies, and we went to the mall because obviously none of my clothes fit, which is a good thing in some ways, but it means I needed new pants. And Target, getting lost in the vortex of Target is always fun. And luckily he likes the car for the most part, so he's done well with that. Yeah, but you shouldn't be hungry, I just fed you. Yeah. Feeding is also going well. I am breastfeeding, and he's been doing really well with it. He's a champ. He eats like a champ. And yeah, so all said and done, things are going great. You wouldn't know it from listening to him, but being a baby's really hard. I don't know if you know this. They live a hard life. I know. You can't tell people what you need or want. It's very frustrating. Yes. You'll get there, baby cakes. You'll get there. So yeah, things are going pretty great. Oof. Oof. This is definitely the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. Giving birth was the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. And taking care of this little tiny human seems impossible at times. But then I look at his cute little face and it gets a lot easier. Or he does something adorable. So yeah, I know my little squeaky monkey. I may have to try to feed him again, but we're done anyway. So thank you all so much for watching, and again for all of your support and everything through all of this. I'm hoping I'll be able to keep up a vlog podcast schedule of every 2 weeks, and that I'll have things to show you, and you can keep seeing this little one's progress. Yeah. You're gonna be a podcast baby. You drooled all over your arm. So yeah, if you want to, you can find me online. I am on Ravelry Ravelry is Tatted Tatter, and on Instagram is The Tatted Tatter. And I try to keep pretty extensive notes and information on my project page, so if you have any questions about any of the projects that I've done, they're all on Ravelry. I will try to actually take pictures of my summer shawl thing that I made, because I haven't done that yet. But otherwise, everything is on there. And then I haven't been posting too much on Instagram, but as I work on stuff, I'll post it. And we're not doing too much of him online. Not too many pictures or information or that kind of thing, just because of the kinds of people that are out there on the internet. But you all still get to see him, at least the back of his head. Yeah, yeah. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. You want to get back to watching Mulan? He's not actually watching Mulan. I'm watching Mulan and singing the songs to him and then narrating to him what happens, because we are trying to do minimal screen time until he's at least 2, as recommended, just to help with his brain development, all that kind of fun stuff. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? So yeah, thanks again for watching. I will see you all hopefully in 2 weeks and online in the interim. And I hope you have a really great day. What? Want to be happy for 5 seconds so the people goodbye? Say bye-bye!